cause our wit must have food on your plate. Are you verily sure that your dinner is cleared? At mystery of food causes your pain, but your friends and relations are very vain.
Good day, Mr. Mugg. Pray tell, did the matter with the, cherries resolve itself in the end?
Those sugar crystals you gave me did work wondrous well. Verily, Dr. Foreman, methinks you should fashion this medicine into little round pills and sell them by the score. I warrant you would make your fortune.
Yes, if only I could have my querents believe that mere sugar pills were the cure for all their ills, great and small, I would be a very rich man indeed, would I not? And what may I assist you with this day, Mr. Mugg?
I have the spotted fever. I must begin treatment now, or else I will...
Hold, sir. The spotted fever is exceeding rare. Why would you think you have such a disease?
Well, sir, not only am I covered all over in red spots, I have lately taken to chundering, such as are the very symptoms listed in the medical book I did read. I am already taking the treatment Mr. Cogan prescribes, but now I require...
You mean to say you have read Thomas Cogan's Haven of Health? Why, that is a most technical book, writ for doctors and medical students. How did you come to be reading it?
My friend George Sprottle did bind a printing of it in his shop. He kindly let me spy some pages afore 'twas sent up to Cambridge. Oh, but Dr. Foreman, I forget myself. You have no medical degree, so you doubtless have not read it. Mayhap if I ask George nicely...
Sir, let us consult the stars and see if they may tell us what ails you. You do indeed suffer from the spotted fever, Mr. Mugg. Now, as to your cure. Aye, it does require some uncommon ingredients that I do not keep here in my chambers at present. A moment, pray, while I write this down. Here, take this recipe to your apothecary and have him make you up a preparation. Take a spoonful each morning until your red spots disappear.
Oh, ground up horns of a deer, and cinnamon, how very fine, and this red coral from the South Seas.
Aye, verily. Nothing but the finest of cures for my loyal querents.
It is just as well for us that I did consult Mr. Cogan's book, is it not, Dr. Foreman? On my word, my wife was very wrong to doubt him. I shall tell her you said so. One thing more, if you please, Dr. Foreman, for I feel I must give ye warning. A great storm is coming. I feel it in my bones, and my bones do always speak true. You would do well to bide indoors at the first sign of wind and rain. God keep ye well, Dr. Foreman.
Almighty God, thy servant Thomas Black, reach forth thy gracious hand, and slap sense into him. Why must this wench act so distressed? Mayhap she can't abide a jest. No welcome love when 'tis professed. What an ungrateful lady! What an ungrateful lady!
Good day, Mistress Lanier. Pray, come in and take comfort by the fire. The wind is fierce and cold this day.
Did you see him this time, Dr. Foreman? He did it again. He ran off the moment he saw me.
See who, madam?
Your patient, Signor Ferraro.
Ah, verily? Indeed, I was expecting him to come for a consultation this day. But he changed his mind and ran off, you say. How very mysterious.
Truly, 'tis as if all men are determined to use me ill.
Surely not all men, madam. I, for one, remain most devotedly at your service. My dear lady, I do not need to read the stars to see that something grave has befallen you. Pray, tell me what it is.
Yesterday I did meet with Mr. Shakespeare to discourse upon our new play, which is to open this week at the theatre in Shoreditch. But though I was determined not to confront him about the sonnets he wrote about me, 'twas difficult to hide the heaviness I did feel in his company.
I can well imagine, madam.
So then, well, he remarked upon my dark humour. To wit, he said to me, "Emilia, your pretty brow does furrow, so I will kiss it smooth."
And I sense that you did not receive this well?
Indeed, I did not. Forsooth, I was so enraged by this, I reversed my flagon of ale full over his head.
Ah.
Whereon he rose from his stool, declaring I was the most ungrateful and unworthy wench in all of Christendom, and then he flew out of the tavern like a bat from out the gates of hell.
A most vivid image, and no doubt most apt. Men who work in playhouses are prone to indulging in such melodrama, of course. Why so many ladies care for such men in preference of those employed in solid, stable professions, I shall never understand.
And if only that were all. For this morning I saw a bill advertising our play posted on a wall in my street. It bears his name and not mine.
Verily? Surely not. Mayhap there has been some error made.
Nay, Dr. Foreman, 'tis no error, for I rushed to the theatre to see what was amiss, but I was refused admittance. Indeed, the player who came to the door denied all knowledge of my collaboration on the play. Methinks Mr. Shakespeare is exacting his petty vengeance upon me for rejecting his sly suit by denying me credit for my work, and he means to deal with me by pretending I do not exist, as if I were a ghost. Or is it he who has become the ghost? In truth, I am not yet sure how that metaphor should work.
What monstrous perfidy! Pray tell me what I might do to punish this wretched scribbler. Though I am not adept with a sword, I do have a book that instructs in how to command nefarious spirits.
Oh, prithee, sir, I am come not in search of vengeance, but to seek answers. As you know, I have been ill-treated by my husband, and now I am betrayed by Mr. Shakespeare. Pray, read the stars and answer me this, Dr. Foreman. Will I ever be able to trust, even love, a man again?
To your question of whether there yet be a man in this world worthy of your trust and affections, forsooth, I have never seen an arrangement of stars that speaks so clearly.
Verily? Then pray tell, what answer does it give?
My dear lady, the answer you seek need not be divined by reading the stars. It may be read in the signs you see before you now. To wit, the answer you seek is right in front of you.
I am afeard I do not follow, Dr. Foreman. 'Tis your feather quill, a half-eaten apple, your desk is a little untidy, and I must confess the symbolism in Flemish still-life painting has always quite confounded me. Take a skull, for instance. What sense does a skull make alongside a bowl of... Below. 'Tis clear to me now, your face was always hid in shadow, but 'tis you, Mr. Foreman. You are the man who has been prowling me these last months.
Dearest, loveliest Amelia, allow me to profess to you my undying admiration for your charms, which are not insignificant.
God's womb, et tu, Dr. Foreman. Fie, you of all men to betray me thus. But 'tis true. I now see the answer. For I know now never again to trust a man to guide me. Henceforth, I shall write under my own name, and when there are decisions to be made, I shall take my own counsel and make my own judgments. By the by, methinks I do at last understand that prediction you made for me some years ago, Dr. Foreman. The one about how belief is required if I am to succeed. 'Tis a belief I must hold not in the inevitability of my own personal success, but of the successes of the women who will come after me. Farewell, Dr. Foreman, and clean your desk. Verily, 'tis quite disgusting.
Lancelot Moore is of a great house. Much does depend, much, on his choice of a spouse. He must be well, consequent wealth, no matter the cost to love and to health.
Navy. Spanish Armada nears English coast. Nation prepares for invasion whilst Queen searches for missing navy. Hear ye!
Wench, be sure to marry, lest ye be branded a witch. If Mary sees you keeping cats against you, she will snitch. Beware of Mistress Mary Payne, she is a nosy fa. La 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 la.
Blessed even, Dr. Foreman.
Mistress Payne, what brings you in such weather? 'Tis most dangerous to be about in it.
Oh, it takes more than a little wind and rain to forestall me from doing the Lord's work. Besides, foul weather is naught but God's righteous vengeance upon London for the sinful debauchery of its inhabitants.
Verily? Then I dread to think what northerners get up to of an evening.
Pray heed me carefully, Dr. Foreman, for 'tis on a most pressing matter that I am come. Doubtless you have heard the news. The Spanish Armada does sail once again towards England's shores. It seems this latest Armada was most unexpected.
Well, as 'tis oft said, no one expects the Spanish Armada.
'Tis very grave this time, for I have heard tell that our own warships are far away at sea, and with our coasts undefended, a Catholic horde may soon be sailing up the Thames to slay us all.
Aye, our situation is most grave indeed. But what would you have me tell you, Mistress Payne?
I wish to know whether the English fleet will arrive home in time to defend our shores, or might we ordinary folk be compelled to take up arms to defend ourselves? Dr. Foreman, are you ready to beat off the Catholics, come what may?
Am I ready to beat off the... prithee, madam, let us pray the need never arises. Perchance the stars will offer us some reassurance. Will the Royal Naval Fleet return home in time to defend England from the Spanish Armada? Madam, 'tis unclear as to whether the Royal Fleet will return before the Spanish Armada makes land. Even then, can we be sure that England's elites are true patriots who may be relied on to protect us from the Catholic invaders? Indeed, there be many an English Catholic nobleman who would welcome such an invasion, for if the King of Spain were to defeat us, he would have England return to Catholic rule.
Doubtless they would. Indeed, I have oft thought as much.
The stars advise you to go forth and rally your friends and neighbours. 'Tis ordinary folk who must take up arms and defeat the Spanish scourge.
You speak true, sir. I will go at once to home and arouse the men of Fore Street. Mark me, Dr. Foreman. England shall take back control of our seas and defend our borders. We shall beat off the Spaniards till they come no more.
Lady, take care, for say, did you hear what the Countess of Devonshire says about peas? They corrupt your humours and cause cancer tumors, so doubtless they're causing your current disease.
Good morrow, Mr. Mugg. Back again so soon. And yet your red spots do seem to have faded.
Aye, of the spotted fever I am cured, for, as he remarked, those spots have near vanished and no new ones are appearing. But my wife does swear they were the work of fleas, and she beat the rugs and banished the dogs from the house to rid us of them. She'll be beating and banishing me next if she has her way.
Well, I am glad to hear you are faring better. What brings you this day?
I have a humoral imbalance, and need treating for it.
A humoral imbalance, you say? Well, 'tis true that an imbalance of humours can affect a man's mood. For instance, an excess of black bile, which is a cold, dry humour, can provoke feelings of melancholy, whereas yellow bile is
hot and dry. I thank ye for the explanation, Dr. Foreman, but I did learn all about humours when I took supper with my friend, Mistress Ollingworth. She has a humoral imbalance and takes medicine for it. Hence, I am come this day for medicine to treat my own imbalance.
I see. And what mental symptoms are you experiencing? Any unusual or troubling feelings?
Aye, very troubling. Why, I find myself a fretting and a pacing all the day long. Even my wife has remarked upon it.
Anxiety and agitation. Pray tell, did these feelings begin before or after you spoke with your friend, Mistress Ollingworth?
Let me see now. After, methinks. Aye, after. Why? Does that matter?
Yes, quite possibly. But let us see what these stars do have to say. What humoral imbalance does ail my querent, Nicholas Mugg?
Have you a diagnosis yet? This day I am to dine with Mistress Ollingworth, and I wish to tell her all about it.
Aye, 'tis done. You have a choleric temperament, brought on by a minor imbalance of yellow bile. It does oft induce feelings of irritability and impatience in the sufferer, and in severe cases it can provoke outbursts of anger.
I see. How very interesting.
We must counter the excess of this hot, dry humour with wet and cooling elements. Take this powder of violets and salt and boil it in some water. Then you must drink the infusion once it is cooled.
I thank ye for this medicine, Dr. Foreman. But may I trouble you for twice the dose of it? For if the symptoms be what you say, I think my wife had best be taking it as well.